Brian Palaviro Far here with Anton Krupicka before the 2015 North Face Transgrancanaria. How are you, Tony?
I'm good. How are you, Brian?
All right. How long have you been here on Gran Canaria?
Let's see. Today's Wednesday evening, and I got here Monday night. Yeah, so we spent the last 2 days on top of the island in, it's called El Garañón. It's the top high point of the race, and from there it's basically one long downhill to the finish, about 80 Ks into the race, I guess.
So has this been your first time to this island?
Yes, first time on Gran Canaria.
And what do you think of the terrain up there?
It's cool. It's a very complex landscape. You know, just driving down here today and kind of getting around the island the last couple of days, you know, in La Palma, you have the one big feature, basically, the big volcano, you know, old caldera. And here it's like everything's really dissected and kind of diced up. And so there's a lot of ravines and canyons to bop in and out of. And I think that is why there's 28K vert in the race, you know? So, yeah.
Do you find yourself ever geeking out on like the geology, like of the, not just the topography, but the actual geology of the places you visit? Well,
it's funny. Like today we were out at Roque Nublo, which is kind of halfway up the last climb, and it's there's some sport climbing on the actual. It's like this big spire that sticks out, and it's funny. Like the rock, it's all volcanic, obviously. So you got your rhyolite, and your tuffs, and your basalt, and your pumice, and all that, and yeah, it's just all volcanic, which is something that's obviously very foreign. Well, I mean, actually, the San Juans are like ancient volcanic stuff. So, but yeah, it's
quite changed with time.
It's much different. Yeah, this is a lot more fresh. Obviously, the geology is comparatively young here to anything you'd see in the Rockies. For sure.
Yeah, it's early in the season to be running 125K.
Yeah,
and how's your winter gone? What have you been up to since UTMB?
Yeah, so since UTMB, well, I came into UTMB with a shin injury. That's been going on for like 4 years. And I made it through the race, which I was very pleased with. But then not too long after UTMB, it kind of flared back up again and has been an issue ever since. So in the fall, I did a ton of scrambling. And really up until like a month ago, I was doing a lot of scrambling because we didn't have much winter in Colorado. But then now we're breaking records with snowfall. So I've been skiing a lot since the first of the year. We finally got into the whole, you know, backcountry skiing, skiing uphill, ski mountaineering, although nothing I do is like...
There's no mountaineering in there?
Well, there's nothing that... I'm just not skilled enough to be doing anything that technical.
Yeah.
But I've been logging a lot of vertical on skis. And then the last 2 weeks, finally 2 weeks ago, really, I was able to do a couple of runs where I was like, I think the shin will be able to survive something like this, you know? So the opportunity was there. It had always been in the back of my mind since last fall that I wanted to do this race. So when the shin kind of came around, I decided, yeah, let's go for it.
Yeah, wait. So it was a sort of a late, firm addition to your schedule. Because I know you were thinking about some other races. When did you decide you were going to be racing this? For sure.
Literally, probably like, well, I did a long run 10 or 12 days ago. And when I was able to do that and not have any repercussions with the shin, I decided I could do the race. So less than 2 weeks ago.
So if you have this persistent shin injury, it's been nagging you for quite some time now.
Yeah.
I know you're in Hard Rock this year, which is something you've been psyched for years to do.
Yeah.
How do you manage having, you know, an early season race and an injury with a long-term goal?
I mean, that's the thing. I mean, like, you know, if you're going to ask me like what my goal is for this race, it's to be like to emerge from it uninjured, you know? And the other thing is, oddly enough, like I've already had a much more productive winter than I've had in probably 3 or 4 years in terms of the amount of training I've been able to do because of the skiing. So I feel like I've laid a much better foundation in the winter than I have in a long time already. So I'm feeling good, really good about Hard Rock. And I don't know, this shin, like I've dealt with it for so long in so many different kind of ways that I know that like if it does flare up after this, I can take a couple of weeks completely off or just ski and not do anything, you know, with impact, and it'll calm back down. And then, you know, hopefully once the snow starts melting, I can get out and log a lot of vertical on dry land. But it's Hard Rock's like the one race out there that I can prepare for. In an odd way, it's like the easiest race on my shin because it's a lot of hiking at altitude, up steep gradients, you know, and so I'm confident in my ability to prepare for Hard Rock. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's a long, convoluted answer and probably not a very convincing one, but I guess I've got a pretty good sense of how this particular like little niggle operates.
So it's less at this point trying to cure the shin; it's management.
It's going to be something I deal with probably for the rest of the time that I try and be competitive in running.
Yeah.
You know, and try and like be at like my top physical fitness. You know, just because anytime you're pushing a lot of volume of whatever it is, running's the main problem for it. I can do a lot of vertical and it's fine. It's going to be something I just have to deal with. And I mean, I've been doing a lot of like core and hip stability stuff that's supposed to translate into, you know, being better for that. And I'm sure everyone will talk about like the shoes you're wearing. And to be honest, like, I don't know, the minimal shoe thing is, I haven't run in what I would call a minimal shoe in a long time. You know, if you look like the 110 V2, it's a pretty beefy shoe.
And you've run in the fresh foam some, and
yeah, I mean, little stuff here and there for sure.
Yeah,
but like, I guess, yeah, I finished UTMB in that last year. So it's, I don't know, it's just something that no one's ever really been able to figure it out. So obviously I take a lot of risk with my training too. So
yeah,
this could be the end of this conversation. Sorry.
Risk, you know, it's risk, but it's because it's what you love doing. Is it all about, at this point, you know, years ago, let's say when you were running with Skags up in the mountains, like it seemed like, you know, it may have been part training, but part of it was just like an uncontrollable urge almost to...
Well, it's sort of that era of my like running was so mileage based and motivated. Like a lot of it was motivated by numbers of just.
So you were mileage whoring.
Absolutely. Now, I mean, anyone who's putting in 200 miles a week, you don't accidentally put in 200 miles a week. You know, it's something that you like push for, which is, I'm really happy to have had that period in my life because I think it's kind of a unique and valuable experience, but it's not sustainable in any way, you know? So yeah, I mean, I think my motivations and sort of approach to the sport has changed drastically in the last 5 or 6 years. And yeah, I don't know.
So it's more like if you're doing a lot of miles in your training, it's for training.
Yeah,
a specific goal.
Honestly, anymore, if I'm doing any like actual continuous running, you know, like 12 days ago, I did a 42-mile run, of like ran every step. It's for a race goal. Like I used to just do those for no real objective, you know, just like to go out and do a long run because I was an ultra runner, so you need to do a long run. You know? Now it's like I'm very kind of selective when I'm going to put that kind of stress on my body, you know, and now. More of my training is about vertical, which a lot of the time is hiking, which is just way easier on my legs. And, you know, this winter it's all been skiing, which has been really good. So, yeah. And
on the core and hip work and all that, is that something you could have seen yourself doing 5 or 7 years ago to the extent that you now?
To be honest, I still struggle with it for sure. It's like, I think I've finally just like grown up a little bit. I'm 31 now and just it gets beaten to you enough that like you need to do this stuff in order to stay remotely healthy. And when you're young, God, it's just way different, you know. Everyone knows this, but no one can tell that to anyone that age. There's no way I was going to listen to anyone, you know. Like, so yeah.
Well, here we are. We're in Gran Canaria. You got Transgrancanaria this weekend. What's going through your head ahead of the race? I mean, there's some good competition. There's a ton of vert. It's a long distance.
Well, I'm excited that it's technical and that there's a lot of vert because if that wasn't the case, I probably wouldn't be doing the race. Honestly, because of the shin. Like, the shin's pretty good on that stuff. And also, it's like, well, why did you do this? Or, you know, why did you decide to do this? It's just, it's been on my calendar, and I've heard that it's, you know, a great race. It's like, you know, you talk to Nuria, she's like, other than Reunion, this is the most technical race in the Ultra Trail World Tour, which gets me excited because I like that kind of stuff. And it's just, I mean, it's always just such a privilege to be able to travel to a new place. I've never been to Gran Canaria, you know, and it's exciting. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. Was that the question?
Yeah, more or less. Yeah. Okay. What's getting you psyched about this course? Not even what's exciting you, what worries you, I guess. Like,
I mean, what worries me obviously
is the injury,
is my lack of running. It's just like, I mean, I've had like the bare minimum. I would say I have about as much running in my legs as I had in the 2 months previous to UTMB this year. But thankfully the race is, you know, 6, 7, 8 hours shorter than that. So that's good. But yeah, I don't know. I kind of just have a good feeling about it that the shin's going to be okay. Like, it's, you know, you just kind of get an intuition for these things. So we'll see.
Well, good luck and have fun out there, Tony.
Thank you very much, Ryan. Yeah.
And a quick bonus question. We talked a little bit about your shoe philosophy, how maybe it's changed. What are you actually planning to wear on Saturday?
I'm waffling at the moment. I have both a custom version, first version of the 110, and just kind of a standard. Well, it has some minor customizations. The 110 V2. So a version of the 110 will be on.
Which are two very different shoes.
They are two very different shoes, but the customized version of the first one I have has sticky rubber. The forefoot has been like kind of leveled out a little bit because it had this weird wonkiness going on, and it has a big burly rand on it. So if I like snag a toe on some lava or something up there, I'm not just going to rip out the entire upper. You know?
But not the completely different 110 V3 yet.
No, I only have a proto of those that was kind of messed up. We just messed up the midsole on it.
It's a proto, yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, exactly. It's there's like 4 of them in existence. So no, it just wasn't race ready yet. The next version, which should be on my doorstep when I get home, I'm psyched about. And yeah, if you see me something later in the season, I'm definitely gonna run hard rock in a version of that shoe for sure.
Yeah, and it's a much different shoe, unlike either of the 2 predecessors.
Yeah, you know, it's a shoe that I want to be able to run for 100 miles, and but I also want it to be kind of like off-trail ready. Mm-hmm. But you know, like the Zero V2, the Minimus, which I also consider for this race, it's got the hyper lugs on it. Most of the time, that's not necessary unless it's very soft, you know. And so it's a little less aggressive lug, and yeah, it'll be way different. Can't really get into it all.
Oh yeah.
It'll be way different.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Yeah.